our planet and our home. Built with a complex and delicate ecosystem, consisting of different kinds of organisms from the biggest to the smallest particle that can only be seen with the use of a microscope. There are a lot of factors that make up our ecosystem. Biotic, abiotic, and non-living things are part of our existence, which make our planet unique in every way. It is built where organisms can live and produce life. But throughout the millennia that have passed, human activity has brought a profound and destructive impact on said systems. As advancement continues in the industry, the planet is slowly falling in line. Consequences are getting bigger and bigger that these impacts that we bring are only just beginning to be understood.
One of the most critical cycles affected by human activity is the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is a biogeochemical process through which nitrogen is changed into a variety of forms before returning to the atmosphere, after first entering the soil and then the organisms. It involves numerous natural processes such as fixation of nitrogen, nitrification, denitrification, decay, and putrefaction. Nitrogen gas exists in both organic and inorganic forms. Organic nitrogen exists in living organisms, and they get passed through the food chain by the consumption of other living organisms. Nitrogen is an essential nutrient for all life, but human activities such as agriculture, industrialization, and transportation are releasing huge amounts of nitrogen into the environment, leading to the destruction of ecosystems and the loss of biodiversity.
Another critical system affected by human activity is the sulfur cycle. Sulfur is a non-metallic chemical element, also an essential nutrient that is the most abundant mineral. But there are many negative actions that ruin the environment with sulfur, like many human activities such as burning fuels, burning fossils, industrial processes, and the most common is deforestation, are releasing huge amount of sulfur into the environment, leading to the acid rain and the destruction of ecosystem that might kill all the living things, including the microorganism from humans and plants.
And it's not just the nitrogen and sulfur cycles that are affected by human activity. Plants, the basis of all life on Earth, are also under threat. Climate change, habitat destruction, and pollution are all having a devastating impact on plant populations. This decline in plant populations can lead to a decline in biodiversity and the loss of critical ecosystem services such as carbon sequestration, soil conservation, and pollination. Climate change, with its rising temperatures and altered precipitation patterns, is making it difficult for many plant species to survive in their natural habitats. Habitat destruction caused by activities such as deforestation, urbanization, and agriculture is also reducing the amount of suitable habitat available for plant species. And pollution from sources such as pesticides, heavy metals, and other chemicals is making it difficult for plants to grow and reproduce.
We can still take action to protect these systems and the life that depends on them. Reducing our use of fossil fuels means making changes to our everyday lives or how we do business, such as using more efficient appliances, using alternative fuels in vehicles, or using renewable energy sources like solar or wind power instead of fossil fuels. We can also invest in clean energy technologies such as solar panels or wind turbines to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. Shifting to sustainable agricultural practices means growing food in ways that are better for the environment, such as using organic fertilizers, rotating crops to prevent soil erosion and nutrient depletion, and conserving water resources. We can also reduce our meat consumption, as livestock farming requires large amounts of land, water, and other resources. And finally, we can work to reduce pollution and waste by reducing our consumption of single-use items, using recyclable materials, and using renewable energy sources to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
And we can all make difference by supporting organizations and policies that promote conservation, sustainability, and protecting our planet's vital system. we can also make conscious decisions in our daily lives to reduce our impact on the environment. For example, plant trees and support conservation efforts. Planting trees not only helps to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, but also provides habitats for wildlife. Supporting conservation efforts, both local and global, can help protect endangered species and preserve natural habitats. Lastly, buy from sustainable companies. When we purchase products from companies that use sustainable practice, we support business committed to protecting the environment. By making small changes in our daily lives, we can make big difference in the health of our planet. So let's do our part to protect and preserve nature for future generations.
Additionally, we can also make an effort to reduce our carbon footprint by being mindful of our travel and transportation choices. Opt for low-carbon transportation options and make conscious choices about the distance and frequency of our travel.
Lastly, we can also reduce our impacts on these cycles by practicing waste reduction and recycling. By reducing, reusing, and recycling, we can reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills and the resulting emission that contributes to the destruction of these cycles.
Join us because together we can ensure that nitrogen and sulfur cycles and the plants that depend on them continue to thrive for future generations to come. So we must act now before it's too late and becomes irreversible.